Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing the round 15 West Coast vs Sydney game, going through who went well, basically the whole of the Sydney team it looks like, and then how West Coast seemed to struggle basically with only Shuey and Kelly doing anything significant, and basically all of them having a shocking game. They came out of the game with I think 2 or 3 injuries, having Bukreski Seaton even playing a full game with a quad basically, and how it was a fun game to go to, even though it wasn't the most competitive game. It was obviously fun as a Sydney fan to go to this game and to actually witness just scoring for once. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So Gordon was the star for the Swans fantasy-wise, 145. Just did it all basically in the first quarter. Was on 70 at halftime. Basically did nothing in the second quarter. Just took it slow. He was on 53 until deep into red time, and then decided to turn up for 17 points in the space of 6 minutes. And then 42 in the third and 33 in the last. Could have honestly probably kicked on and scored 170 and been the top scorer of the round, but a 145 from him is perfect. And yeah, just got going early. Was on 14 in the first 2.5 minutes looking here, and yeah, it was just fun to watch him play, and it seemed like they wanted him, especially with West Coast. It seemed like he was able to get onto the outside very often on that left wing, and being able to use his kick to get some good leverage and to get inside that forward 50 and just be able to spot up McDonald, McLean, Amadi, and all the tools there that were down there. Rowbottom 129 had a tackling masterclass. I think he ended up with 27 touches and 13 or 12 tackles. Yeah, just I think one of his best output games so far in his career, and just ended up really doing well. And 34, 35, 22 and 38, so really consistent across the game. And then Heaney, who tied West Coast 34 points all. He came alive in the second half here. He was on 1 goal 3 at halftime or something, and kicked 4 goals 1 in the second. So he could have honestly kicked about 7 or 8. He missed some pretty easy chances, and could have honestly decided to take a couple of shots, as it seemed like they were trying to save Clark from getting dropped at one point in the game. They were trying to just kick it to him to see if he could get a bag of 5 or 6 goals. They were all just trying to pass up shots to get shots within about 25 out, honestly, in the second half, as it was just an onslaught. He had 94 points in the second half, Heaney, as a small forward. That is quite ridiculous. Warner was probably second best on ground, even though he got beaten out in the fantasy points-wise, because, he had something like 19 score involvements, 4 or 5 goal assists. He had something like, I want to say 7 or 8 clearances. It was quite ridiculous. His run on was quite good, and yeah, just pretty consistent across the whole game. I just wish he could produce this regularly. Sheldrick was a surprise product, as he didn't get off to the best start, 13 at quarter time, but then 98 in the resulting couple of quarters. It seems like he's finally found his place within the Swan side, and I don't think he's going to get dropped anytime soon. I think you will probably see other guys get dropped around him, like Marty might get dropped for Buddy. You'll probably see Francis dropped for McCartan, etc. I don't think you will see Sheldrick dropped, as I think the Swans have weathered their injury storm and are coming back from it now, and they're going to make a run here. Even though West Coast are a bad side, the Swans draw, if you actually look at it here, if we look at Errol Gordon here, they play Geelong next week in Sydney. If they win this game, that'll be a 2-game streak going into Richmond. Richmond are a tough team of late, but they can beat them. Then they go back to Sydney to play Western Bulldogs, who are a tough team, but they seem to always have the wood over the Bulldogs of recent times. Then they go to, this game's going to be a tough game, Freo at Optus Stadium. That is going to be tough. But then they come back, play Essendon. They could win that game. So we're talking they could win 4. They could realistically win all 5 here. If they really do turn it on, they could win all 5 here. And if they win all 5 here, then that sits them at 11 and 8, I want to say. 11 and 8. Heading into Giants and Suns. So they could be into the finals before these 2 games here. And, they won't make top 4, but if they win out all these games, or drop 1 out of the 7 games here, they'll be 12 or 13 wins, needing to win one of these games here or something to get finals. Basically, it's as simple as that. They could make a run late season here very easily, but I think they just need to take it one game at a time. And yeah, their offensive side of the game's doing really well. Defensive was pretty good. But now moving back to Sheldrick, I think he's going to stay in the team and he could be a massive cash gem basically for the rest of the year. Minus 39 break even. It'll be the timing of when you drop him or when you trade him out, as I think it's going to be around that 600k range that we're going to get to with him, as he's going to have a minus break even for the next 2 weeks pretty much no matter what he does. And against Geelong, he might put up a 75 or 80, and that'll be enough for probably a 70k rise, and that'll get him close to 440k-ish. He'll have a minus 15 or 20 break even after that, and that'll get him close to, I reckon, 500k quite easily. And by then, I hope he makes some. By then, we might decide to drop him as his break even might go positive again. And that's when he will start to slow break even, cash gen wise, and we can get in a guy. I don't know, we can get someone in for him, and it can really help, I guess, cash gen wise. And he will be able, for me, to be able to go Hayden Young up to Sicily when Sicily comes back, as Sicily's still got 2 weeks to go. And I want to be able to get probably Laird and Mills, and then upgrade to Sicily here, and I think that'll be basically my team. And then I'll have Noah Long and Hewitt and Mullins as well, and Chesser to be able to upgrade probably Keys up to Cornelio, hopefully, in that time. And then you've got, Sheldrick, McLean got 106, don't know how, to be honest. Papley 101, Papley didn't do anything basically, so don't know how he got there. Parker 93, McInerney 91, Hickey, McDonald, Lloyd, Blakey, Campbell. Campbell was actually pretty good, just didn't get the fantasy score to back it up. Mills has a high break even again, I'm pretty sure, got subbed out at 3/4 time, and he dropped down to like 680 odd K or something, 670k. And so he's definitely an option when he starts to pick up. But yeah, obviously 64 is going to not really help. But I think we're looking at a Mills next year who's going to be very highly owned from the start, as even if he goes hundreds from here, we're looking at a guy here. There's 10 games left or something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games left. If you go hundreds from here, we're looking at a guy that's going to be around about the 80, probably around that 85 price, which 85 average price is going to be, going by last year's standards, 750k for a guy that can go 110. That's going to be pretty ridiculous. So I think he's going to be the option next year. Mills, Amati, Florent, Rampy, Fox, Melican, Francis. Then we move over to West Coast, and this will be pretty quick. Shuey, Kelly did their jobs, got the fantasy score. Yo backed his score up from a couple of weeks ago, basically just by kickouts from all the 19 behinds that the Swans kicked. Same can be said about Duggan. Had a shocking game until he just got kickouts after kickouts. Dom Sheed actually looked a lot more influential than this says. Only had, I think, 1 or 2 free kicks against, so his score was 67 for that reason, but he seemed to be one of the guys that got a lot of the marks, etc. Hoff, Jarl, all these guys are below 50, and then you have Hewitt here, and Hewitt seems to be the guy to go to, as seems like he could produce 60s or 65s for the rest of the season to help get his fantasy score, price up towards that 400k or so range, but we'll have to wait and see with that. Gaff, Hunt, Barras, Noah Long, disappointing, he got 40, but hopefully he can bounce back against some other teams when the Eagles put up 50 or 60 points rather than 34, and he can get a goal or two and get up towards that 60 range to help his price. I don't know what his break even is, but I would expect it to be around that 45-50 range. Petreski, Seaton, Edwards, Marek did pretty disappointingly. compared to what he did a couple of weeks ago with pre-bye, his first game. But that's sort of what you expect as a forward. Oscar Allen got on the board early, but did nothing in the next 2 quarters, and then came back in the last quarter kicking a goal, but was sort of dead the game by then, so obviously it didn't matter. Chester came on in the second quarter and actually did well, but didn't get involved in the last quarter. If he got involved in the last quarter, got up to like 35, it would have been really good. But hopefully he gets a full game next week rather than this, rather than putting on the vest, because he seems to be one of their better players, but just doesn't seem to be able to get the score that is needed for that. And then Bazzo and Williams 10, and then got... It seems like he was subbed out, but it doesn't seem like he was subbed out because Chesser was on in the second quarter, but it says Williams was on in the third, but that might have just been a mess up with the other Williams. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but I'm pretty sure he was subbed out in the second, and that's why you have here what happened here. But anyway, that's basically the video, and I'll see you guys in the game reviews tomorrow. So thanks, guys. Goodbye.